How did we meet? In school. We grew up in New Orleans.
Technically, we met in the playground in kindergarten, but I don't remember.
And then we went to school together for middle school, and then became friends in 8th grade, and then he asked me to homecoming in 10th grade, and we've been together ever since.
I was offered a job in Houston. We decided not to move. We thought it was
Well, we came to
best
visit,
live in New Orleans.
and then we had a bad weekend. We got in an accident with an 18-wheeler that totaled our car and could have killed us, and they didn't understand how we survived it. Then we locked our baby in the car and had to call Papa Lock and have her rescued. And I did not like Houston. I got lost going to the zoo and almost ended up in Dallas. And I said, I will never, ever go back to Houston. I'll never, no.
6 months later, Katrina came through the city and put about 11.5 feet of water on our street, so our house flooded. At that point, the decision was pretty easy, that it was pointing us towards Houston. That's how we ended up here. We were very blessed with a friend that I had made years ago that opened up an apartment to us in the Tanglewood area. And then from there, we kind of fell in love with the area, I guess, so to speak, and then ended up being across from Second Baptist.
You know, I guess on the outside, everything to all appearances looked pretty normal. I mean, he's going to work, my kids are in school, I'm a stay-at-home mom, I get up every day, I go to the gym, I'm room mom. Everything seemed totally fine, but really on the inside, I was having a struggle. In the afternoons when I got home with the kids, I would open a bottle of wine and have a glass, and then that one glass turned into two, which turned into the bottle, which I would try to hide from him, and down that path I went. I have 3 children, and after each of them were born here, I struggled with anxiety and depression as well, and I felt like I was losing myself. And of course, I went to the doctor and was prescribed sleeping pills and just different things to try to help me, but the weight of life was just getting to me. I felt like I had a lot of responsibility that I couldn't handle, maybe, or whatever the excuse was. I justified my, pouring a drink at night because I'm worn out. I've, taken care of my kids all day. I deserve to relax or whatever, and I was trying to fill that hole and find some kind of peace the wrong way. If I was to be honest with myself and with God, I've always known it was a problem. There was a problem. Like something wasn't right with me if I took a drink. I just reacted differently than other people. And I denied that for 23 years. I couldn't stop. I was like dependent on it. Jimmy tried to help me so much, trying to help me control it, and sent me to his doctor, and, made certain threats in a loving way. I mean, nothing worked. I was beyond human aid at this point. It was just a regular Friday, and I was with one of my sweet girlfriends, and I went over to her house with one of my children and to play, and we were drinking wine like normal. And when I drank too much, so I went upstairs to my friend's house, and I was like literally sick on the bathroom floor, and I have been in that position, from the time I was 13 to I was 35, and look what I was still doing. I just had that moment where I was so sick, and I was laying on the bathroom floor, and I hated being there, and I could hear down the stair, and I heard my friend ask my daughter, what's wrong? And she said, oh, I just wanted to tell my mom good night. And the way she said it just pierced my heart in a new way, and I just all of a sudden realized, what am I doing? What am I doing? What kind of mother does this? I love my family. I love my husband. I love my children. I would never deliberately want to hurt them. But then I saw that what I was doing to myself was hurting me and ultimately hurting them, and that I was going to take them down this dark path if I didn't get help. I felt like I was at the top of a burning building, and they were telling me to either, jump or be consumed by the fire. I felt like there was no way out. I just cried out and said, I can't do this anymore. I can't keep on drinking and live.
This whole journey wasn't like something that you see in the movies, where it's this really quick, destructive behavior where things just all of a sudden collapse and we've got these huge consequences that happen. It's just daily, weekly, and monthly things that are just making life more and more difficult, and relationships harder and harder to have. I think I got it through my head that I wasn't going to change you, you weren't going to change you, and that we really honestly needed a miracle. And we prayed about that a lot.
I had spent my entire life going to church, going to Bible study, leading Bible study, but I had become so enslaved that I didn't know how to break free. It was so beyond me. It's like I had all this head knowledge, and the Bible and the Word was up here. I just couldn't let it fully into my heart. I never really believed Him, or that He could do for me what I couldn't do for myself. I knew that until I surrendered the bottle, that I wasn't going to be able to hold on to His hand. That I had felt like I had surrendered my kids, my husband, all this stuff, but I was still holding on to that one thing. I knew that He wanted all of me, but that was scary to me. That was scary, because then what? I think everybody has a different threshold for pain in their life. And some people have to go through a lot of pain before they're willing to surrender. And I had suffered enough. I felt like I was so sick and tired of the facade, pretending that everything was fine when it wasn't. It's exhausting to get up every day and pretend that, although everything looks good on the outside, on the inside, I was dying inside, and I couldn't find that peace that I was searching for in all the wrong places. When I realized that my drinking was not just harming me, but it was harming my husband, it was harming my children, I realized, oh my gosh, how selfish that is, how self-centered to, when we hide our sins and addictions and things, they just grow, they don't go away, they overtake you. You can't become free of something if you're gonna hide it. So when I asked him how, a 3-year-old, literally, okay, so how are you gonna do this? I heard, my grace. That's what I heard. And I was like, I know that. I know that. I don't know what it means right now, but I know that. So that night, and I said, all right, well, so what do you want me to do now? And it was I heard, just get up. Just walk with me. Just get up, off the floor, literally, and get up. And I went to bed that night, and I felt a peace that I'd never felt before, because I knew it was over. I just knew I was done. I was done. I was ready just give it all to him and let him take over. So I went home the next day and tried to tell Jimmy this. And of course, with good reason, he's kind of questioning my words, because I had said, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this. And of course, I can't, we can't do this. Only God can do this. So for the first time, I was like, no, I'm not going to do this. God's going to do this, but I need your help. And we were supposed to go to the Texans game that night. And I was like, no, I'm sorry, that's just not happening. And I didn't feel well. And I just wanted to stay home and hug my babies. And then I couldn't sleep. And I got up and I went and found his study Bible, and I was like, where is that verse? Where is the my grace? I was in the concordance looking up all the passages on grace, and I found it, and I was like, there it is. And I like to read the whole section, not just the one verse, put it in context. And so I was like, oh, this is it. Like, this story is about Paul and the thorn in his flesh, and he prayed 3 times. I don't know how many times I prayed for God to remove it. And God did not remove it, but he said, my grace is sufficient, for my power is made perfect in weakness. So in that moment on the bathroom floor, I did realize that I have to become weak. I have to empty myself of myself in order to let him come in and let his power come in and work through me. That I can't do this. He never said I could.
When she came home that day, something I knew had changed, and as a man, you try to make sure you don't mess things up when these moments are happening. That was the thing that was going through my head. It's like there's something different, but I was in the panic mode too, a little bit of like, what do you mean? We're changing the rest of your life? Why don't we just take this one day at a time? Like, this is overload for me, actually. Neither of us were prepared to talk about the rest of our lives. It was really just focusing on, what are we gonna do today? And then we'll start thinking about tomorrow.
Well, the next day was Sunday. I woke up and I was ready to meet the day, and I'm like on this new path with God, and I need God. Like, I need to go to church. I need to go somewhere. Where am I gonna go? And I thought, I'm gonna go to Second Baptist. I don't know anyone. I'm gonna go there. I went in. It was exactly what I needed. It was like, for the first time, those words, they meant something. My experience resonated with them, and I'm crying, and I'm thinking, oh gosh, what are people gonna think? Nobody knows me, nobody cares. And then, you're not gonna believe this, the sermon at the time, and I think in the bulletin, it was entitled, Walk With Me. It was Ed Young, and he was talking about how every one of us in our Christian life, in our life, whatever, at some point, that we're gonna have to come to that fork in our road. Like, we're gonna have to get to that point in our life. And I can make a choice. I can either go down this path, this dark path, this path that is not God's will, like in my will, self-will, that ultimately leads to death, like literally spiritual death. But for me, I felt like, physical death, like I could die, and I didn't want to die. Or I could reach out and take hold of Jesus and hold his hand and go in the path of light and go in lightness and have life and choose life. Will I choose life or death? And I was like, yes, this is it. I am here in this moment. This is my defining moment. I am going to choose life, and I want this life. I just felt like it was for me, not anybody else. And after that, I ran to the bookstore and I was like, help, I need a new Bible. So I found a new Bible and I went home with it and I started marking it up and reading it. We started coming to a Bible study here once a week together that some girl we met invited us to. So we brought all our kids up here to Wednesday night programming. My kids are loving it, like meeting new friends, coming home singing, like my oldest one is begging to come on Wednesday and Saturday, and then we started coming to Bible study together for the first time in 10 years.
You come here and you see people that you know, and you get involved with people that you know. There's a lot of diversity, whether it's in the people, the worship style. It allows us to kind of find a place to fit in, but also see the rest of the community. And obviously the focus on kids has been very important to us. I think that was a big reason that we are here now, is that the opportunity for all of our kids to get involved and really be involved.
Our oldest daughter went to beach retreat for the first time last year and had the best time of her life. She cannot wait to go again. She came home with her packet last week and she's already filled it out. I didn't even have to ask her to do it. And so we've been given this like this new life. I have new friends who the friendships are based on love and authenticity. I think it's a beautiful thing that when you have a community like this that can do that, it's just such a blessing. It's so God. I mean, this is clearly where God had us coming all along. But our oldest daughter was is very involved in Live and J High, and she came home, several times and was expressing interest in just wanting to be baptized. And we were like, great. So let's sit down and talk about this. So we did, and then we would talk about it, and then we would sort of just let it go and whatever. And then she would go back and she would come home and she kept talking about it. And she said, Mom, I really want to get baptized. We're like, great. And then when we talked about it, she was like, okay, so if I'm going to do it, then why won't you do it with me? And we were like, wow, we just had this discussion and it all just came together and it made sense. And I prayed about it, and I thought getting baptized was sort of just that beautiful experience we had together. And then Jimmy ended up getting baptized with us too. So we all decided we wanted to do this. So we all got baptized last Easter in the fountain.
We talk about relying on God every day, and really, I think a lot of us give a lot of lip service to that, but you're actually doing that to survive. And it's a lot of courage and honesty and perseverance and just waking up every day and relying on God. It's honestly, it's really a huge inspiration, I think. It's kind of a really amazing thing. And there's a stigma that goes along with alcoholism that is people that I guess aren't strong and have this weakness, but in reality, you're actually demonstrating the ultimate strength and courage that it's just kind of really inspirational. I know, much like the other stories in our lives, there's a reason that God took us through this, and He's going to make something out of it.
When I got sober, it was really hard for me to be in here. Every time I would open a cabinet in the kitchen, I would be reminded of the bottles I would hide and things like that. And people encouraged me to try to, you need to be around new people and new places and things. And, everything has to change when you change your life like that. And so I was like, I can't move. I mean, this is my home.
You tear down, you rebuild, and you come out a little bit stronger. And that's kind of, I think, what we're looking forward to, getting back into the house and sort of start that next chapter.
And it is just a miracle that, I haven't needed to pick up a drink since the first time I came here for that first Sunday. I've been sober ever since, and it's just
one day at a time.
God, one day at a time, and from here on out too, it's one day at a time. Jesus is just my everything today. I came to that point where I either had to decide He's everything or He's nothing, and He's everything. I belong to my Creator. He loves me. He's transforming me to being the woman and child of God He's called me to be. That bottom dark moment, that last time I had when I drank, He was there. He met me where I was. God knows my suffering. God understands. We don't serve a God that doesn't understand our pain. Only in Jesus can I find that peace that I was searching for so long and trying to fill that hole with so many other things that just are never going to be enough. I belong to Him, and no one can take that away from me.